Yeah, it's absolutely peaceful, and I think we have to remind all the viewers that in recent days, most of the demonstrations have been peaceful, and in a sense, this is what democracy looks like. I want to introduce you to a couple of young ladies I just met recently, Natalia and Mari. They're both recent college graduates. One of them is in grad school. You know, just finishing school, I don't know what your career aspirations are, but witnessing what you have in this past week, has it kind of altered your professional goals?
I think it just is reminding me that in any profession that I go into, I need to bring um, I'm gonna say my whole self to that profession. So right now I'm getting my master's in human resource management, and I'm excited to be able to go into that position and be able to fight for Black people and help people move up the ladder in organizations, help implement different inclusive programs to help people, Black people, feel included, help them feel that they matter. And I think right now in a lot of corporations and organizations, we feel that we don't matter. And so I think that it's just important that as Black people, wherever we go, that we make sure to stand up for our people.
Because I feel like that's the theme for today, is that if you want change, you got to do it from within and be participatory. Your feelings about that?
So as far as I completely agree with her about whatever profession we're in, to bring our whole self to and to make sure that we need to bring each other up and provide those opportunities and awareness for people of color, and just make sure that we are representing our people in the way that they deserve.
One of the things that I've been reporting on a lot, because I'm certainly much older than you, and I remember '92, and I remember the devastation that took on working class people when grocery stores are taken away from neighborhoods. Children do not have the nutrition that they need to feed their bodies and their minds. Your perspective on that, when you see, even though like a CVS is being burned down, but it's Black and brown people who work and rely on those jobs. Am I fair in saying that?
I think you're fair in saying that. I think it's more just the message behind it. So a lot of people are doing this out of, frustration, and when they feel like they're left with no other options. When speaking out has not helped, when peaceful protest has not helped, some people are going to take extreme measures to get the message across.
Is it fair to say, because oftentimes, like I'll hear from my African American friends, where they say, I am sick and tired, and what they're saying is, I'm sick and tired of being told how to mourn. I'm sick and tired of being told when to mourn. I'm sick and tired of being told, quote unquote, get over it. Is that what people are so angry about?
I think we're just so tired. I think the fact that we have to write on papers that Black Lives Matters is so sad that we're doing that in 2020, because I feel like that should be a given. And so we're so tired of having to stress to people that we matter. So I think being out here and seeing our allies finally just coming behind us or rallying behind us is so helpful, because as Black people, we are tired. And so this is beautiful to see everybody here supporting us.
You talk about the allies. The diversity in the crowd is very noticeable. So let me give you an opportunity to both flush that out a little bit. We'll start with you.
I think that it is just blowing my mind to see all of the different races and colors and people from all different walks of life coming together to fight for us. I think that there was at one point a struggle between the Black Lives Matter movement and people saying that all lives matter. And I think that needs to be clarified, that when we say Black Lives Matter, we're not saying that only Black Lives Matter, but we're saying that we matter as well. And so I believe it is so beautiful to see people, just catching on to that and, standing for Black Lives Matter.
Would you like to add to that?
Yes, I definitely think there's power in numbers. So to see signs that says, Latinos for Blacks, or to see Asians for Blacks, I think it just helps to not only motivate us to keep moving forward, but also creates a stronger force when trying to move forward this movement.
You were telling me earlier that you've had deep conversations with your parents about '92 and what happened then. I spoke to a gentleman who's probably, your parents' age, and he talked about back in '92, it was mostly African Americans pushing for change. That is not the case anymore. How helpful has that been for you both to see that?
I think it's just, again, it's the power in numbers. Instead of just seeing a bunch of Black people protesting for this movement, to see all races come together, I mean, it speaks volumes. And we all have our opportunities. So opportunities as Black people or Asians or whites, and when we come together and join forces, I feel like it just creates a bigger voice and a bigger impact.
The passion that has
Say that
been
again.
going on, it's very sustained. Why do you think people continue to go out here day after day after day the way they have?
I think because one day isn't going to cut it, and we're seeing that we've been out here for weeks and we are still barely making small little changes. We're still trying to get the police officers arrested. We're still trying to get their charges to be accurate to match the crime that they've done. And so I think that we're going to be out here as long as it takes to make sure that we see the changes that we're asking for.
You know, I've heard people speaking today saying that it's important for young African Americans to become police officers, to become prosecutors, so that they can add that voice, add a different perspective from the community. Fair, unfair, your feelings about that?
I think at this point we've realized that the police has a lot of corruption going on. So I think it's very difficult for African Americans to enter those fields when there's so many barriers that is keeping them from actually enacting the change that they want to enact. So I think that there needs to be some reconstruction of the police force that would allow Black people and people of color to come in and really make the changes that they want to make.
Would you like to add to that?
I would just like to see also policies applied to help whistleblowers as well. So encourage people who want to speak out and they feel safe to do so, because I feel like currently that's not the case.
I think that's a very important point because at least in Minneapolis, some of the officers that are being charged now are also being charged because they didn't speak up for not doing the right thing. Fair to say?
Absolutely.
And when you see people kind of standing by on the sidelines, just not as an African American, but as a human being, what's that like for you to witness that, especially when it was on camera the way it was?
I think now that we are filming these incidents more often, people are getting the confidence to speak out and react because they're catching it on camera. It's no longer you're in a situation where no one's recording and you're trying to, stand up for what you believe in and it becomes a he said, she said. We're catching it on camera. We have our rights, and if you evoke those rights, we have proof to show.
Thank you very much, ladies. Just really appreciate your time and your sentiments. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you for talking
And
to me.
as you can see, just a diverse crowd out here trying to push the conversation forward. And one last time before we hand it back to you, I'm going to rotate a little bit.